Hello, love. If you are feeling that you are in a tailspin right now, in a whirlwind, emotionally, feeling chaotic, feeling a sense of emotional collapse as an empath, here's why. The energy of the Venusians wanting to bring in energy, clarity, 33 on the counter as I say this, the energy of clarifying how the emotional body of an empath works and why it is really important. This is the first part of the journey, the first step of the journey, I should say. Why it is so important for us to understand where our own balance and harmony lies when it comes to our emotional expenditure, growth, development, sensitivity, the whole shebang of it. Okay. Now, they specifically gave me this word tailspin, which is really interesting when you actually look up the meaning of tailspin and what it means, and specifically how it's related to aerodynamics, aircraft, and then I heard the word whirlwind as well, which again is connected to air. It's this idea of, a column of air rapidly turning or spinning like a tornado or a waterspout. And what's interesting is waterspouts, when we think of this elementally, right? Waterspouts are a combination of air and water. And water always represents emotion. Air often represents thoughts and intellect. And it can also represent to a certain degree our connection to the divine, right? And being kind of in these upper spheres. But air is also the element connected to the heart chakra. And water is connected to the sacral. So there is this sort of overlapping symbolism and connection here to this idea of emotions being uncontrolled, being out of control, because essentially that's what a tailspin is. I looked up the meaning, and I'm just looking off of my notes here. A rapid, uncontrollable descent of an aircraft, and this is specific to descent, going down, right? Now, think of that word esoterically. When we descend, essentially we're descending. Ascension is connected to descension. And I'm getting with that the myth of Inanna, okay, connected to Mama Iset. And there's a lot of, obviously, again, these are the Venusians coming through. There's a connection to that and this idea of shadow work or connecting to and descending into the shadows, into the depths in order to garner wisdom, growth, and understanding. I'm hearing around emotional volatility specifically for this collective, okay? And this often, the way a tailspin works, it's called a spin because it's like we're spiraling down. And oftentimes in aircraft, the reason for a tailspin is because the wings oscillate or one wing stalls and then this happens. So there's an imbalance of air flow and up kick that creates this tailspin. And it's really interesting because what the Venusians are saying that know that this tailspin, whatever this descent is, know that it is happening for a reason. And it's incredibly important to not resist it, because what they were showing me was that just like when a car slips on ice, the worst thing that you could possibly do when it's spinning is like apply the brake. Because sometimes applying the brake on ice just makes it spin even more out of control. What they were showing me was riding essentially the wave. And in air navigation, in flight, when you're flying a plane, one of the things that helps you to come out of a tailspin is to essentially lower what's called the nose attitude of a plane. Attitude can kind of be looked at in terms of position here, the way, not necessarily, although there's a double meaning here of what your attitude is towards something, how you see it and how you perceive it. And this is a huge thing that they're bringing in through now. So it's a play on words here big time. The attitude that you take towards this, if you're constantly resisting it, it just makes it worse. So there is persistence in the resistance, right? The attitude or placement here of a plane, when we're talking about position, is about angling the nose, lowering it, and specifically attitude here is connected to the orientation of the aircraft's longitudinal and lateral axes to the Earth's horizon. I thought that that was really fascinating because we're talking here about the Earth. And right off the bat, when I heard, or when I was reading nose lowered, I heard grounding. It's like we're orienting ourselves back down to earth in order to regain control again. That's how, essentially, one of the ways that you can break the stall of the wing and the tailspin that you are in. And the crazy thing that happens is when you lower the nose of this plane, airspeed increases. And I would think this has to do with gravity, right? It increases more quickly when a nose is in low attitude, and the aircraft then gets out of the spin. So there is a lot of metaphor that they're bringing through here. Very specifically, maybe for some of you, aircraft is, for that to be coming through specifically for this collective and for whoever finds this message, there feels like there's definitely something there. And specifically, I think I had seen this on Wikipedia. What I read was the controls respond conventionally. The controls of the airplane, when you do this, respond conventionally, and the airplane can be returned to normal flight. This goes back to descending in order to ascend again. And sometimes the deeper we go, the less we resist what feels uncomfortable, the quicker we get out of it. And that is the paradox of emotional alchemy. This is a concept that the Venusians, moving forward, want to bring forward for all empaths. Empath lightworkers, starseeds, healers, empaths, period. And those awakened empaths, in a sense, those awakening to this idea of being an empath and knowing that you are an empath and how to move through emotional alchemy. Because empaths in their highest octave are emotional athletes and alchemizers. They know inherently, we're essentially returning to remembering of how to alchemize emotion. This is a gift of an empath. I'm actually going to put a video here, attach a video here. Let me just make note of the time. This was a video that I had done. There's a message that came through. I don't even know. Maybe it was a year ago, 2 years ago, about the magic of empathy, the empath magic, essentially. And this is what it is: the ability to alchemize emotion, to be an emotional athlete, to recognize exactly what you're feeling, where it's coming from, and what to do with it. Instead of this, instead of being in a state of I'm sensitive and there's only so much I can do, or I'm constantly absorbing emotions and I don't know what to do with them, right? This is the antidote, is what they're saying to me for that. Specifically, what they've given me so far, we're not going to cover everything in one video, but we're going to start here, is this connection to the element of water, the element of air, what that represents, spiritually, what it is connected to, energetically, what it is connected to. And I heard them say, small moves, increments. Don't underestimate the increments. The same way that when a plane is in a tailspin, we do not underestimate the incremental changes of the attitude of that plane or the positioning of that plane. Increments. And I'm hearing with that, if you are lovers of the movie Contact, which is one of my favorite movies ever, her father says to her, small moves, Ellie, small moves. Okay. And the name Ellie, really significant in that. Look the name up and see what it means. Okay. Essentially, Ellie is connected to light. That's what it's connected to. Okay. And this like concept of enlightenment or consciousness. All right. So the first thing that they're giving me with this is the power of breath. This is a huge thing because we're talking here about moving emotions through the body, through the breath. This is a starting point. The element of water being connected to emotion, to the subconscious and the unconscious in a sense, okay? Water and air, when they work together, we're moving the consciousness with the unconscious. We're becoming conscious and aware. And really, it often starts with us as empaths making that intention of being conscious of our emotional state, moment to moment, day to day, and recognizing, is this mine or is it something else? Is this me processing something that is personal to me, or is it collective, or is it having to do with the energies that I'm being exposed to, the energies that are around me? Making that intention first is everything, because with intention comes awareness, and then we awaken. We awaken to what exactly is going on within us, okay? We're going to start by talking briefly about breath. So breath is a huge part of this. Studying breathing techniques to move emotion through the body. Breath is your connection to spirit, to your own spirit, and soul time. This is what the Venusians brought through. And they literally showed me soul time in quotation marks. And then I saw equals the present moment. Equals the present moment. Okay? We're going to expand upon this going further in a series of video messages, portals that want to come through. I'm also being called to share with you working with these two crystal allies, crystal friends, crystal support. This is the big chunk of rose quartz here. I call her Rosie. And this piece of Smokey quartz. Smokey quartz and rose quartz are incredibly supportive to the empath energy makeup, the empath blueprint, energetic blueprint. And this combination specifically, very connected to heart alchemy, also shielding and grounding and moving emotions through the body, okay? Smokey quartz is a fantastic crystal to work with. I'm bringing that energy in for you now. If it is not available to you, you can always just pause the video. And I'm even being reminded here to say, play this video anytime you need to simply ground yourself as an empath. Listening to these concepts, listening to these words, there's key codes coming through as well here, okay? Something about the vibration, the frequency coming through these messages as well on behalf of the Venusians, on behalf of the crystals. And we're going to get to a little card popping here in a second. But understand that these are here to assist you in the mastery from within of emotions. And it also helps you to understand more clearly what energies are yours and which energies are not yours. And then how to move forward in alchemizing those appropriately. Okay. Now, obviously, one of the biggest distinctions here that they're showing me is a lot of what comes up for us personally as an emotion coming up that we are being asked to alchemize. That's a lot of where the shadow work is done for ourselves personally. Also understand that in lieu of unity, in lieu of oneness and being one with the all, every little tweak you make, every little improvement, every little healing step you take, that reverberates, especially as empaths, because of the heightened sensitivity that we have energetically. That reverberates down the line, ancestrally, and forward, okay? It also reverberates in your environment, the people around you, in your space, wherever you are. Even Mama Gaia benefits from this energetically. She is the ultimate empath for me, the ultimate clairsentient being, okay? I'm going to be asking for some messages around this through the Rose Oracle. Just want to bring in some additional messages of support here. They called me to ask through the Rose Oracle again and the Island Time Wellness Love Oracle cards, which usually are for relationships and love and all that. But when they tell me to check in with a certain deck, I check in with that deck, okay? So specifically, the term emotional alchemy and how might we understand it better? We've got the thorn coming out here, protection, boundaries, clear communication. Just take a look at that imagery. I'm hearing the rose and the thorn. This goes back to the energy of shielding and what's the word here? I can think of it. It's funny. It's coming to me. Strengthening, reinforcing our energetic, not shield here. It's our aura, our auric field. This goes back to the previous message posted here around healthy boundaries. I'll link that as well here. This had to do with reframing this concept of having healthy boundaries, looking at it in terms of values, valuing your own energy. We have to start there because sometimes what I'm getting and what I'm picking up on collectively is that there are empaths struggling with keeping these healthy boundaries in place. 1717 on the counter as I say that. So yeah, that's the energy of the star card. So anytime the star card comes up, we're talking about some kind of purification, baptism, purification of energy here specifically, but also where and how. Here, I'm hearing the term shining your light, but it's coming forward as where are you sharing your energy? Where are you giving your energy? Who are you giving it to? And how are you valuing the energy that you're giving to someone else? That's not to say, like, this isn't about being stingy, right, with your energy in any way, shape, or form. It's more about valuing. Where is it being valued? How are you being valued? How is your energy and presence being valued? How is that being reflected back to you by the people, the relationships in your life? And now I realize that's why they're bringing in these love oracle cards, because a lot of this is reflected in relationships. The empath journey is about growth, and I'm even hearing transcendence through relationships. And oftentimes this comes back to our own respect for self or self-love and understanding that it begins with us as empaths. How much do we value ourselves? This is how we transmute these one way we can put it is outdated concepts around what it truly means to be an empath and be empathic. There is a lot of programming. Narcissistic programming is the phrase that's coming through right now. Manipulative programming around what it means to be empathic. People, essentially, there are people that very much benefit from empath energy. I'm even hearing the phrase sucking the life out of empaths. There are energies that really benefit from that, right? And there is a psychological kind of warfare that goes on with that, with empaths, where empaths get stuck in a cycle of empath guilt, I like to call it that, empathic guilt, where they feel bad because they can't be anything and everything to everyone energetically. They can't fix things for people energetically. They take on responsibilities, emotional responsibility that's not theirs. And this is a really, really, really significant thing to awaken to as an empath, okay? And that's where the value of the rose, there's a reason why, this is what the Venusians are saying to me right now, there's a reason why a rose has thorns, because the beauty of that rose is precious and it's not to be toyed with. So the thorns are there for a reason, because you need to handle this with care. You can't just pick it up and do whatever you want with it, okay? And obviously the rose being analogous to being an empath and the energy of an empath. Whispers of Mother Earth, creativity, ideas, inspiration, artist, writer, and channel. This is one way that we begin to transmute a lot of these emotional energies. This is a very specific message for doing this type of creative work as a way to channel. I'm hearing emotional baggage. I'm hearing emotional trauma and complexity. Do not underestimate in any way, shape, or form the simple act of keeping a journal, of writing out your thoughts, of painting out your thoughts, of drawing out your feelings. Literally drawing. They're even showing me actually physical motion. I'm seeing exercise, I'm seeing dance, I'm seeing forms of movement where you move the emotion through the body. That's a whole other topic. Absolutely. And we're talking about the whispers of Mother Earth here, grounding that, making it physical, actually channeling your emotions into something physical, beautiful, creative. That is a massive gift. Many of the greatest artists in every respect, writers, painters, anyone creating anything beautiful in this world, are channeling emotions. That's what they're doing. And there's a cathartic quality to that. That's why oftentimes as well, as empaths, as highly sensitive people, we are so drawn to art, right? We are so drawn to music. We are so drawn to the emotion that it can bring up in us. And that can be a very cathartic experience. I'm even getting, acting and theater. I went to pull the deck and this card just slipped out. This one came out last time. Okay, this is a big nod to aligning to like souls. This is something that's going on. I think this warrants a whole other message. Someone likes you. Romance is blooming. Fun flirting. Want to date. This came out last time in the last message. How Spirit is bringing this through and how the Venusians are showing it to me is this is aligning to people who really, truly love you and like you and want the best for you and bringing joy and fun back into relationships. This is one of the reasons why we go through hardship in relationships. We find ourselves and then we find others. We find others who are emotionally the right space, I'm hearing, for us, the right choice for us, right relationship. The runner in a codependent relationship, fear of intimacy and listening to the ego. Okay. I'm hearing there's no point in chasing a runner. If someone has left your life and they've chosen not to be in your life anymore, there's a reason for that. They did you a favor, is what I'm hearing. No chasing. Come back to self. Come back to center. And they're showing me breath work again with that. Perhaps some of us are really struggling with that right now. Especially if you are a woman, okay? Especially if you are also very much in a feminine energy, running is going to feel exhausting to you. This is the principle of the divine feminine wanting to come through right now to say I'm hearing, I don't chase, I attract. Who wrote, there's a group that has like fantastic songs around that. If I find that somewhere, I will link that. I will link that in the description box. It's a song that I've heard. Oh my God. And I think it's two guys. Anyway, I'm going to link that. There's something in that. Understand that if something has left you, it's left you for a reason. If something is no longer in your life, it's no longer there for a reason and it's doing you a favor. That's the specific message coming through for that. Hand of cards at the bottom of the deck. Take a chance. Take a chance on yourself is what I'm hearing with that. Risk. Be strategic. Options. Not showing hand. Gambling. What I'm getting with this, funny enough that this is an ace of spades here, which translates to the ace of swords. For some of you, that could be Archangel Michael helping you to uproot energetic cords, to help shield you, to help protect you. Call upon Archangel Michael if that resonates for you. But this is also about divine intervention. This is also about looking at your thoughts. This is also about a new beginning. This is also about drawing lines in the sand. I'm hearing shields up with that. I'm literally seeing two daggers like this. Maybe that's going to be the emoji for the title here. Not showing hand. It's okay not to share everything with everyone right now is what I'm getting with that. And I'm actually seeing the Seven of Swords with that in the tarot. If you're familiar with the tarot, oftentimes one of the kind of the surface readings we get from the Seven of Swords is deception. But it's a lot deeper than that. That's not the message that's coming through here. What I'm getting here is being strategic about who you share your ideas with, your thoughts with, and how you're feeling. Be selective. That's what's coming through for that. Okay. I'm going to end it there. Thank you to the Venusians. Thank you to the energies of Mama Gaia, the ultimate empath coming through for this. I thank you for being here, for sharing your time and your energy with us in this space. A quick little reminder. I meant to say this at the beginning of the video, but of course we get into it and then we're elsewhere, right? I have a poll in the post community section of the channel. Please, I'm inviting you to participate in this poll. I'm curious to see where you are at, what you're resonating with at the moment. I'm going to link that poll in the description box and in the comments as well. I am also offering one-on-one sessions if you're feeling called to work with me, to grow, to expand, to step into your journey fully, okay? The links for that are in the description box as well below. We're going to have more messages coming through on behalf of the Venusians, so stay tuned for that. I am really focusing on every 2 to 3 days, making sure I upload a video now because these messages want to come through sort of shorter and sweeter than usual. And there's always something in terms of the support here, okay? So feel free to share whatever is resonating here. Family, in the comments section, I'm sending you so much love wherever you are here on beautiful Mama Gaia, in love and liberation, always.